she's going to be talking about probate and inquest records, what kind of information you can get if you're lucky enough to find those. And then on November 18th, this is interesting. I didn't know we had someone like this. Kevin Granfield, anyone know him? He lives in Wilmette, and apparently he's a self-taught genealogist. He kind of got interested, and he got like a huge tree of names now. He's going to come in and talk about what he learned as a self-taught genealogist. Some of the, how some of the traditional ways of doing genealogy didn't really yield such results, and what he did. So that's going to be November 18th on a Saturday at 1 p.m. And then in December, I don't know if any of you have ever seen Jennifer Hollick. She's a she is a specialist on military genealogy. And I don't know if you noticed, but I'm having a series on World War II coming up. And so as part of that, she's going to talk about, I think it's December 2nd. I'm sorry, I think at 11. I'll have to check it, but don't check the calendar for that one. She's going to talk about, I don't know if you know, but a lot of the military records burned up in a fire. And so, but you can still do genealogy. It's just not as easy as it might have been. So anyway, I'd like to welcome Eric. Is it
Basir?
Basir here.
Yeah.
He launched Grafix, a photographic restoration and retouching studio in Evanston back in 1999. He uses a combination of photographic, illustration, and computer skills acquired through education and professional experience through the years. He's served hundreds of genealogists throughout the United States. He is author of 3 books, over a dozen tutorials, and a video course about digital photo preservation and restoration. So please welcome him.
Thank you very much. All right, good. Not too loud, not too perfect. So let's do a little survey around the room. Maybe starting over here. What brings you to the workshop? What are you looking for to understand better? And please share. Starting down here. And if you don't want to talk, you don't have to. You can say pass.
I just would like to learn about it.
I want to know what software you use, Photoshop and so forth, and just the technique. That's what I'm looking for. Not necessarily. I gave you a number of pictures. There's a lot of pictures up there. It'll test your skills to perfect different kinds of problems in pictures.
Great, I like problems.
All right.
Bring me your problems. Next, please. Yeah.
I'm just want to learn some helpful hints so I can do it on my own.
Great. And
I have a wealth of old photographs, family photographs, many of which have various kinds of problems. So they've all been scanned, but none of them have been restored.
And that will lead us to the handout. You've scanned all your pictures, but you haven't restored them. How did you scan them? What did you use?
We ended up having a company in California professionally scan them and put them to digital format in order to preserve them. Preserve the original at any rate.
Right.
I have not worked with the original or with the scans.
So.
Oh, and we did some photography in Europe as well.
Great.
Records and so on. Not photographs of people.
So, what file format were these saved as when they were scanned?
I believe they were all TIFFs.
Good. All right. So, Nancy, do you have the master copy, my copy of the handout?
Well, I don't know upstairs.
Do you have another copy? I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah, I kept it so in case somebody
Thank
doesn't come and they want it.
That's fine. I just want to make sure I am consistent with what I'm telling you here. So this is down at the 3rd section called Scan It.
Scan it.
And that 4th stage, it says Save as TIFF or a native format, never as JPEG. When she hired her service, they scanned it as a TIFF. We hope.
We hope.
Okay. If they didn't, you know, I think they should redo it. Okay. I'd have to see the JPEGs. Does anybody know why I say that? Like, what are you talking about?
Why is the JPEG not?
Yeah. Yeah, why doesn't it?
Why is it?
It's lost.
Does anyone know why?
There's compression in JPEG?
There's compression in JPEG, okay.
There's loss when you copy it.
There's loss when you copy it.
You lose it every time you recopy it, you lose some more.
Anything else? Every time you copy it, you lose some more. Every time you duplicate it, you lose some more. Anything else? Anybody else? Okay, I'll make it. Everybody here is wrong. No, just kidding. Everyone is right, a little bit. But you're not saying exactly what I'm looking for, because when you leave here today, I want you be like, Eric told me so many millions of things. I can't remember one of them. But the one thing I can remember is never save my scans as JPEG. So here's why. All right? JPEG is a poor quality file format. That means you will lose detail over the long term. Now, there are exceptions. I'm not trying to say like hate JPEGs as your new religion, you know. No. What I'm trying to say is you don't need JPEG for your archives. So you're going to scan a picture of from your family album. If you save it in as a JPEG, you have to know how to use it as a JPEG, save it as a JPEG, and that takes extra steps. So let's just avoid taking extra steps and spend more time thinking, less time scanning our pictures. Save as TIFF, T-I-F. So we're just going to jump right into scanning, so I can show you what all that means. Let's go around the room. You can see my screen, yeah. I didn't start my other camera. Excuse me. Let me just start there real quick. There we go. So we're just jumping right into this now, but let me do a quick survey. How many of you all have an Epson scanner? Good, good. Very good, very good. Okay, how many of you have an HP scanner? All right. How many of you have a Canon scanner? All right. And how many of you have a scanner, but you don't know what it is? Okay, yeah. So there's always that. And how many of y'all don't have a scanner? Okay, all right. So, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch your deck by his toe. If you holler something, go eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
That one.
Oh, the little teeny tiny tintype.
That's it.
Okay. I know, and you're like, hey man, what about mine? This is like a little lottery. You're watching the balls pop up, you hope it's your number. So notice I have these gloves, right?
Yes.
You think I'm wearing this just to look cute? No. Why am I wearing these? To get that, don't let that oil, and you be like, I just washed my hands, there's no oil. Listen, are you alive? Is your skin an organ? It's got oil on it. I wasn't eating any fried chicken. Doesn't matter, okay? And then you can touch the picture. Now, if you don't have gloves, I recommend you hold the picture like this or on the edges. You're like, I gotta hold it somehow. Well, don't stick your finger in the middle of it. Don't do that, because that will leave a residue and it will stay there forever. You'll never get it out.
Are those cotton gloves?
These are cotton gloves. This is kind of a blend of synthetic, and this is a cotton. I believe in diversity. No, this is all I have. This is like 15 years of hard work, you know, and it's like, oops, they don't match anymore.
Can
Yeah.
you use plastic gloves
No.
or not?
I wouldn't use plastic.
Okay.
In fact, I would keep plastic away from your pictures. And this is also in your handout. Why would I say keep plastic away from your pictures? Anybody? Okay. It's generally plastic is made out of, it's technically the plastic that's on your gloves or the plastic that's in a bag or in a container. It's polyvinyl chloride, PVC. All right? And it naturally leaves residues, it naturally breaks down and off gases. Gases come off of it. And these things affect your pictures negatively. So you just want to keep it away. You want to stay as organic as possible. Now, plastic is an organic substance, but it just takes, like 5,000 years to break down, right? So it can be a problem, If you have, mold and stuff like that, and you're dealing with a big wet mess, yeah, I guess you should use plastic until you can dry them out. So your scanners, I highly recommend Epson, E-P-S-O-N. If you already have an Epson, you're safe. All right? So this is an Epson scanner right here. It's a flatbed. It's a very old one. It's called a V350. So they don't make it anymore, but there's newer ones that are faster and better than this. But the optics, the little bulb that reads the data of your picture as it goes back and forth is still very high quality, very good resolution. And when you scan it as a TIFF, it actually saves it as a TIFF. Now, in this example, I have done what's called a preview. So you see me press, let's hope, maybe I can zoom in here. I pressed this preview button, all right? And it gave me an overall view of what's on the bed, all right? And I'm going to click right on this because this is an old preview, and I'll hit delete. Now, up here, you see these marching ants. That's the area I'm telling the scanner, I only want you to scan that area. Because otherwise, if I don't click and drag and set a box like this, and there's nothing there, it will scan the whole bed. And then my picture will be this giant white rectangle with a little picture in the corner. Big or this big or this big. There's plenty of information. All right. So the next thing is image type. Now what that means is it color or black and white? Now you just saw me do a preview of that little black and white tintype. So what should I scan it as? Color or black and white? Color?
Color.
Oh, wow, y'all are... Things have changed in the past 10 years. The trend is going towards color, and that's very good. Why color?
More detail.
More detail. And why is there more detail in color as opposed to scanning it in grayscale, so-called black and white? Aha! So you understand, you know the truth, but you do not understand the truth. Okay, all right, I get it. Okay, no problem. So he says scanning color, and he's absolutely right. And that's because color in a computer is actually comprised of 3 channels of grayscale. 3 channels of gray. And each one picks up different colors. And it records them. So you have a color picture, or you have a black and white picture, but it has details that are in mid-tone or middle areas. The red channel will see things that the green channel doesn't, and the blue will see that the red, and so on and so forth. So what you're doing when you scan your black and white in color is you are doing 3, it's like 3 scans. It's pretty cool. But I don't want you to get confused, like I'm doing 3, I have to do 3. No. Just do 1. 1 scan in color, even if it's a black and white. You'll get more detail that way. And when I say detail, detail is not visible necessarily in, oh, look at the face. But it's in the shadows, it's in the dark areas, in the middle areas, the middle tone areas, the gray areas. It kind of distinguishes between, it's the nice area between light and dark. And if you don't have a middle area between light and dark, what do you have? You have black and white. Literally a Xerox copy. You ever seen you throw a photo on a copier and it comes out, it's like, ugh, that doesn't look like the photo. Everything is black and white. There's no gray, all right? So anyway, so what I want you to do, on your scanners, make sure you do color. Now what is this, Eric? I see color smoothing, 24-bit, 24-bit is all you need. Don't worry about 48-bit right now. That's advanced stuff, and it's very debatable if it really even makes a difference. All right? And think of 2-4, you know, 2-4-1. That's a good deal, right? 2 for 1 is always a good deal. I can get 2 socks for the cost of 1. Yeah, that's a good deal. So 2-4-bit color. There we go. That's a good deal. 4-8, what? 4 for 8? I don't want 4. Okay. All right. Let me just zoom
So
right
the
out.
resolution,
Resolution is always a minimum of 300.
yeah, but you didn't say like 4 hours. How far do we go if it's not negative?
So if it's not a negative and it's a print, 300.
Oh, that's it? Oh.
Yeah. If you want to experiment with more, go ahead. But here's where we're going to learn something. Okay. Let me just go to configuration real quick here. Okay, I just need to check that for myself. Okay. Now we're going to hit preview. In preview, again, it's going to give us the whole bed. And the nice thing about preview and getting the whole bed is sometimes you can scan multiple pictures. So you can put, 4 pictures on that bed. And each one, each one can have its own little box. So I got this one, and let's say there's another one here, and then there's another one here. And I have lots of pictures I can show, but for now, we're focusing on this one. Regardless, here we go. Now we're going to scan it. So I hit scan. Actually, there is something that some of y'all might be curious about that I shouldn't leave out, is document size. So this is a little tiny tintype. I guarantee you there's a lot of detail in that little tiny picture. All right? And you might want to enlarge it. You might want it to print it bigger. So in that case, you got 300 DPI. Let's increase the, let me get this. Let me zoom out here. Yeah. Else for your computer, okay? And I do a little dash. And then the start number, I click this little button here and I go to 1. And what will happen is every scan that I do from here on, it will automatically assign a new number. So I don't have to worry about having a bunch of untitled 1, untitled 2, stuff like that. Or what do I call it today? I might change my mind tomorrow. You know, be as general as you can. And hit OK. And there goes my scanner. So any questions? All right. Good. Or not good. I don't know. I'm hoping yeah.
Do you have a specific scanner that's purchasable now that you recommend?
The more money you put into that Epson scanner you buy, the better your results will be. The more options you'll have, especially if you run into some negatives that are like some odd size, or slides that are glass or something like that, So, but generally, anything in the Epson perfection or stylus photo, anything with those photo, they're really, what, $100, $200, $400, $1,000, whatever. But any of those levels, you're going to get good quality. That's my point. All right? Okay, so we just scanned this picture. And now we're going to work on it. All right. So what I'm using for demonstration is a program called Adobe Photoshop Elements. All right. This is an older version. I have 15 also. So they're up there like at 16 or 15 or something like that. Or 17 maybe. I can't keep up. I don't use Elements for my full-time work, I use Photoshop, CS5, it's very old. It's very old, you know, but it works. You know, and I don't do the Creative Cloud, I don't rent, I'm not gonna rent my software, I'm sorry. Spent all these years being loyal to the company, buying upgrades. I thought, you know, but anyways. So I recommend Photoshop Elements.
So you were saying the Elements is like, the CS is more professional than the
CS is the professional
grade.
and I'm gonna tell you straight up, I don't use more than 25% of Photoshop in what I do. I don't. It's just not necessary. Unless I just want to goof off, but I don't have time for that, you know. If I want to goof off, I come to the library, right? Find a good book, sit in a workshop. So let's go to File, Open, and I will navigate to the folder I just made and the picture I just scanned, and I will open it up. All right, so it's a little cropped on the side here, but right now, I would rescan that. but for time, for demonstration purposes, I don't want to do that. So in my instructions, and near the bottom of the first page, it says restore it. All right, so the first step for that is to duplicate the background layer. Now layer, what is that? Layer is simply a layer. So this is your photo, this is the layer. It's a background layer. It is the layer, it is one layer. It's not like anything fancy. You're a human being, this is a layer. But we're going to duplicate this layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, and then we're going to do it like this, and there's going to be something here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work on this layer. And then we can turn this layer off, and we can see what it originally looked like. And then if we really mess this up, we can delete this. But we still have this. You see what I mean? Okay. So redundancies that I put in my workflow. And I have a whole course on that, and you can learn that on your own. But all of this on my video tutorials. Yes, I do. And we have that right here, too. So I am kind of going fast. And I apologize for that. But, you know, we have a limited amount of time. So I do need to go a little fast. And there's people at different skill levels here, too. So I am trying to, I want to slow it down a little bit. So you can go a little bonkers trying to get every dot. But, you know, sometimes you just got to say, you know what, maybe that's supposed to be there. But when you look at her face, now come on.
Yeah, the nose.
That little white thing there, that's got to go. Bye.
Lip.
Yeah, the lip. Now look at that, but it distorted her lip, right?
Yeah.
You see that? It's like, I just changed how she looks. She don't look like that. That's my auntie, great-great-aunt, blah, 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 blah. You know, exactly. So you got to be real careful with this tool. So when you get this tool, you can use a different tool, or you can sometimes change the size of the brush. And if you change the size of the brush, that can make a big difference. So let's look up. Come on, you. I'm going to zoom up so you can see what I'm doing. So up here in the options bar, it says size. That's the size of that brush. So we're going to cut it in half to 5 pixels. Now I go here. I still don't like it. See, when it comes to faces, don't be too fast. It's different, right? And why is it different?
Because it's a prominent feature that you might, that could change, that you change, that might make
right.
that face look completely different
That's
than
right.
the photo.
She said it very well, and that is, it's a prominent feature. So remember, prominent features of your photos, if there's people in it, is the face. All right? So let's not change the face. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to the tool that I teach with. Because if you learn how to use a regular screwdriver, it's easier to use a power screwdriver. But if I just give you a power screwdriver with a battery and a fancy light, and it says whatever on it, you're like, whoa, you know, you can have an accident. But if you know how to use a normal screwdriver, it becomes easier. So we're going to use a tool called the clone stamp. That's over here. This is a great tool to learn with. Nowadays, it's kind of like the dark room. People are like, I don't really need a dark room. But I tell you, if you can ever learn how to print photos in a dark room, you're learning some good skills that are very transferable in the digital world. And I am lucky to have that kind of training in my college back in the ancient 1990s. All right, so anyways, I got the clone stamp tool right here. And this is a big brush. Look at that circle. Do you think if I use this, what's going to happen to her face, right? Right. It's just going to be messed up. So clone stamp tool is a little different. It's actually a two-step tool. So you actually have to hold your Alt or your Option key down, sample an area that you like, that is correct, and click. And then when you let go, you will stamp it, and there it will show up. Now, as you see, look at this big brush, right? This is just messed up. We don't want that. All right. So, I'm going to sample this, I'd say, this area here. All right. Now I'm going to bring my brush down. Now I'm going to, instead of going up here, I'm actually going to hit my bracket keys on my keyboard. I need to zoom in. So in the instructions, I say use levels. I don't necessarily tell you how to get there. But nice thing about Photoshop Elements, they have a great help menu. So you can just type in levels and watch this. I typed in levels. Oop, come back here. And it went and through the menu and did it for me. Isn't that cool? I just have to hit return. Boom. All right? So, we said this is a black and white picture, but we scanned it in color. That means you gotta color correct it as color. Each channel. Not like in here. This is called channel RGB. This is called the composite channel. We have to go to red. And what we're going to do is, let me just explain something here. Look at this. This is called a histogram, right? This is these mountains. Look at these. We have two mountains, right? Two mountains. And these mountains are telling us there's information in here. Now, this little mountain. Oh, man. I'm sorry. You can't see it. What am I going to do? Let me see, maybe. Oh. Okay. What's the problem? Maybe. I really want to get that.
Should we switch off some light so that we can...
You know what? Could you do? Why don't you hit the lights off? Turn them off because it might help. It'll get real dark and maybe we'll end up falling asleep, but it's okay. No. How about... Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, it's not you. I don't think we can do anything about it. Oh, it's awful. Yeah, but you still can't see the histogram. You can't see
it.
it.
Like a bell curve or something?
Yeah, it looks like it, but... Oh. Okay, hang on. I got an idea. I got an idea. I'm going to open up the big Photoshop. Where are you? Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, this is CS6. So this is, I don't use this at all, but I'm hoping the interface will be a little better. I use CS5. Okay. So we're going to open, we're going to follow the same procedure. Now what I'm going to show you, Photoshop Elements has the same thing. Well, Matt, where are you? There you are. All right. Ah! Phew! Let me take a sip of water. I was sweating there. Okay. Thank you, Elements, for your wonderful dark interface that no one can see. All right. So, see, now you know why I don't use this set for my own work. That's one reason. So now we go to the red. Sorry. So I was talking about the two mountains. So we have the small mountains on the right and the big mountains on the left. This is Photoshop's way of seeing color information. The white is the little mountain. So what I'm going to do for demonstration purposes is I'm going to crop this picture out because otherwise it's too confusing what I'm about to do. So please, there. Yeah, don't do that. There you go. Okay, so what I want you to do is go to the red channel and bring the sliders at both ends to the edges of the mountain. Don't worry about this middle one. Just the dark and the light triangles here. Then I want you to go to green. Do the same thing. All right. It's beautiful, isn't it? No, just kidding. We're almost there. Then you go to the blue. All right. Now it's highly exaggerated because I put this a little later in there. Okay. There we go. All right. Now, so before, after. All right. I'm turning off the background copy layer. All right. I should have made a duplicate of this layer. I'm sorry. I had an emergency right there and I kind of panicked. But we made it. The plane did not crash.
Could you go back in the histogram and make a new layer?
Sure, I can go back in history and make a new layer, yeah. But I didn't do that, and I should have. That was the point. I should have shown you properly. But I want to move on. How much time do we have?
Can you tell you guys if you want another half hour for the audience?
Well, you know what? If y'all get tired, you can leave. How's that?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So,
Do you like these lights down, or do you not just notes now? Do you want me to put the lights on?
yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Put the lights on. You know, yeah. Because you know what I'll do? Everything that I'll do this all in Photoshop, the big one. But uh-oh, we're awake.
No, I'm really sorry. We want these lights in.
So I'm gonna go grab another picture. And I want to get something very different. I want to get a color. This is good.
Is it okay?
Yeah, and if we need to change, we'll change. I think we'll be okay. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to take this tin type off. And just so you know, tin types are like, they're really not tin, they're really iron. They're made out of iron. This is an iron plate. And they can scratch the glass on your scanner, so just be aware. They scratch. Oh, y'all leaving? Okay, sorry. Did you enjoy it? You got things? Okay, you got your handout?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to take one.
Yeah, take a flyer. Give them a flyer too, please. Don't leave yet. He's gonna give you a piece of paper for your bird cage.
Bird cage.
Okay.
Eric, are you not going to scan that
Have you got your
to
photo
show
back?
us what it?
I scanned it.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the physical copy of it scanned.
Am I gonna scan the physical copy?
make a physical copy
Yes,
from
they-
the.
I'm not gonna print, I should print it, I should print it. So we have, you know, of course, we don't have a printer, but we need to get to that stage, all right? So, but it's real simple. It's really actually real simple to print, right? You just hit print, but actually, no, I would like you to understand something. First of all, let me ask this. How many of y'all print at home? How many of you print photographs at home? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of y'all print photographs, let's say Shutterfly or something, or you take them to, you know, I don't know, Walgreens or something and print them? Raise your hand. Where?
I've done with
Shutterfly, yeah. So you know you can't send them tips.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can't print your tips. You could print a tip directly to your printer. All right? But you can't, you got to give them JPEGs. And that's okay. And I'll tell you why. Watch this. File. Excuse me. Let me run back to Elements. File. Save as. JPEG. All right? Now, in here, I will not overwrite what I have. I will just hit save. I need to send that picture over the wire back in the 70s. Because there's no way you can get the picture on time for deadline, right? So they send it through a wire, through a cable. So they have to compress, they have to scan the print. The photographer develops his film, makes a print, scans it, dials up on some 200 baud modem, and sends it through the wire. You can't send a big, they're going to use this sporting event on the page, full page, or in a magazine. You have to compress it. Make it real small and teeny tiny. And you're going to lose detail. That's what JPEG's for. JPEG is not for you to be photographing, you know, your family reunion. It really wasn't meant for that. That's the history of it. But they don't tell us that in school. They just give us a computer and a digital camera. Good luck. But a lot of you have a chance to shoot. Some of your cameras do RAW. That's really good. RAW is the best format because you can work on it and export it as anything you want, and it keeps your changes, and you can go back and get rid of your changes. It's a really wild format to work with. But anyways, let's work on this picture here. I hope I answered, I hope I addressed your problem there, right, about feeling kind of overwhelmed about you have already saved all these JPEGs, right? Yeah. So, you know, if you want to work on them again, just save it as a PSD and do your thing, you know? No problem. No problem. Okay, so let's go and scan a color. Now this color picture is pretty interesting because it's like, it looks pink. Anyone know why is this picture of this couple pink? So old.
Certain colors fade faster.
Yeah.
The dyes fade.
Sometimes the dyes, the chemistry starts to break down. Another thing is, thank you. You leaving? Yeah, okay. Well, thanks for coming. The chemistry. Also, you know what else will make your pictures fade?
Sunlight.
Sunlight, yeah. That sun is powerful, isn't it? Just think about it. Plants generate food from the sun. That's pretty complex. You need a lot of energy for that, to make your own food. So imagine what it's doing to your pictures. It dyes on paper, right? So it's warming up. So while my scanner's warming up, any questions? Yeah.
Is there a certain type of paper that you use to print?
Is there a certain type of paper you use to print? So, yeah, that's a great question. So what I recommend is that you use the paper manufactured by the printer that you're printing on.
Okay.
So if you're printing on an Epson, you should use Epson. If you're printing on HP, you should use HP. Canon, maybe. But, yeah, you know. And Epson's really good when it comes to photos. Now, I use HP for, I'm going to go ahead and scan this. So we know what to do. We're going to save it as a JPEG, right? Huh? What? Did I hear someone? What?
Yeah.
Tiff. Tiff. Yeah, it's like, Eric, change it, Tiff. Okay. Yeah. Just checking. See, when you leave here, you'll remember one thing.
But just now it asked for a document or picture, so we don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I'm moving a little fast. Let's do that again. It's a good question. So she just saw some. She said, "This says document," or so where you're talking here or
Preview, I think on preview.
after I
Scan.
did scan.
Yeah. So the location.
Oh, this is location. Okay, so documents is nothing but a folder called documents. I like to make my own folders.
Oh, those are the folder. Oh, okay.
I did other. Remember, we did a custom folder.
Okay.
But documents and pictures, these are two different folders.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. It's like they're trying to be helpful because they figure it'd be better to just put them in one of these folders than anywhere because the person can't find it. You know. I'm sure if they could, they would send an instructor with every scanner purchase. But no, it's up to you. Okay, so let's go to our picture here. Okay, so again, I'm not working in Elements, but everything I'm going to do is transferable in Elements. Duplicate the background layer, right? It's the first thing we do. And now, for this, I didn't make a straight crop. I'm sorry, I didn't straighten this picture out in the scanner. I should have done that. Perfection. So let's, ooh, this is a good one.
Eric, is there any way of brightening up the eyes? It looks like there's a shadow in both their glasses.
You know,
It's the eyes and not the
we can, yeah, we can. It looks like the photographer's light is kind of high. He's doing that for, he's trying to sculpt them a little bit with the lighting. So then boom, you got that shadow, yeah. Yeah, you can. You have to use the selection tool, select a little bit of that area and brighten that area up, or the dodge tool. So I'm gonna, this is not yours, is it? No. Okay, so here we have a picture that I just tore in half. Just kidding, just kidding. It was already torn in half. Yeah. You're like, no, bad guy. What are you doing? No, it was already broken. So I'm going to show you something pretty cool. All right. So we can go back to Elements. Got to scan first, Eric. All right. Let's go to Preview. And maybe this will be our last one. I'm sorry if I didn't get to everybody's, you know, but thank you for bringing, okay. And if you have any questions about what you heard today, feel free to call me. I will not bill you to answer your questions over the phone.
Your cards are, you can't see your cards yet.
Thank you. Okay, so here we go. All right. So what I'm going to do in this case is, I'm trying to think of efficiency with time here. I want to scan these separately, these two halves, all right? And then we're going to stitch them together, all right? So here's my first box. Thanks for coming. Click and drag for our second box, all right? I click on the first box to check the settings over here, 300. I click on the second box to check the settings. 300. Good. All right. And I like to shift-click the box that doesn't have the marching ants. So now they're both selected. And I hit Scan. And look at that. By the way, again, it's assigning numbers for us automatically. Is this one? Oh.
No,
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Busy people. People have places to go, things to do.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's good to be alive and do things. These workshops I do, they always, you know, know, there's just so much you want to do, and you just can't, you know. It's,
You can make it a series, let it go.
yeah, I do. I actually, if you go online, anybody have subscription with Family Tree, Legacy Family Tree webinars? Legacy Family Tree, or Legacy Family Tree, the software? They have a whole website of webinars. I have a whole series on there. Plus I have my own course, so you can get a lot more from me. Okay, let's go to elements. All right, let me close this stuff, get this out of the way. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to put these two together. So, let me, there's a new version that I was using. Things have changed a little bit where they placed stuff. And what I want to do is use what's called the little panorama thing. Let me open these up. Maybe now it'll show up. This is embarrassing, but we will get what we want. Photomerge. I'm going to help. You have to do help. No, that's what I want. See, just go to the help menu if you don't know. All right, so this is so cool. So what this is going to do is this is going to take, usually it works most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't, you got to do it yourself. But usually it works. We're going to put these two pictures that I scanned together as one. Now, I'm going to click Open, Add Open Files. Those are the files that I just opened, those two pictures of the two halves. And we're going to do Auto. Hit OK. And it's going to work. I'm not doing anything. Usually this works really well. CAD, whatever. It's used for everything. So you don't want to have to learn a bunch of stuff you'll never use. So you want to just, so when you go to YouTube or whatever, you're searching to try to learn things, don't search Photoshop. Search Photoshop, photo retouching, Photoshop, photo restoration, that kind of thing. That way you'll learn things. And of course, you can see me too if you want. But there's so many of us teaching out there in the world of the internet, you know. Any other questions? Yeah.
Do you recommend any specific way to store your photos in a mounted format? You know, I mean, like in the old days, you had the little corners on the black pages and in the ancient, you know.
Yeah.
And actually, those stored better than in the 70s, the 70s when they started using magnetic stuff. Which is
magnetic
like,
photo albums. That was
like
so funny.
now like a torture to get the things out of them. But now I've got all these pictures that I took out of those albums, and I just have them in boxes.
Yeah, yeah. On your handout, I have some pretty good tips on the back page about that. So to answer your question, what can I do to store my photos?
Yes.
Okay, basically anything that doesn't have glue is a good start. No glue, no tape. No staples, paper clips, rubber bands. Rubber cement is glue also. Okay, PVC free, lignin free. I'm giving you keywords to look for. Archival. And when you hear archival, archival is not a magical word. It actually is based on a period of time of 30 to 50 years. Then you move it on to something else. But that probably, for many of us, that won't necessarily be our job. We're going to have to teach someone in the family, you know, how to keep this stuff moving. All right? Archivers is a retail outlet. Michael's is a retail outlet, and they really do have some really nice storage materials. If you want a box, like, look, man, I got so many photos, I can't display them all right now. Well, you got to get a box. and it has to be an archival box. Why? Because if you put them in the cardboard box in which you have moved things,